Today we're going to have a look at what relative major and relative minor means. We're going to look at the music theory behind it. I'm going to go through a few examples and then give you some songs that swap between the relative major and minor at the end. Let's hook into it. Relative major and relative minor are scales that have the same key signature but a different tonal center. So for example, the classic one to use is C major, which of course uses C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C for the tonic. And the relative minor scale that uses that same key signature, so the same amount of accidentals, is A minor, which starts on A as the tonic, and then goes to B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. The reason why these two scales are different, even though they use all the same notes, is the intervals between the notes and what order they're in. So, for example, in C major, we have a tone between C and D, a tone between D and E, then a semitone between E and F, a tone between F and G, a tone between G and a tone between A and B, and then a semitone between B and C. So overall, that looks like tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. When we start the scale on A, the main reason it becomes minor is because those intervals shift. Suddenly, we've got tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, which leaves us with a minor third on that third note in the scale, the C, which creates an A minor sound rather than major. And we also have a minor 6 and a minor 7. You can also go a little bit further into the chord theory in these scales. So for example, if we're looking at what chords are diatonic to C major, we've got a C major chord, which is made up of C, E, and G, followed by a D minor chord, D, F, A, an E minor chord, E, G, B, an F major chord, F, A, C, a G major chord, G, B, D, an A minor chord, A, C, E, and then B diminished chord, which is B, D, F. But when we look at using these same notes starting on A, we suddenly have an A minor chord to start with, followed by B diminished. That diminished chord is now in position 2 in the scale, followed by C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, before going back to the A minor. There are a few tricks that make finding a relative major or minor scale simple. If you're looking at a major scale and trying to find what the relative minor is, all you need to do is find the 6th note in that major scale. So for example, in C, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, number 6, and that's where we start our relative minor from. We can also reverse engineer that process and count backwards 6 notes to find the relative major for a minor key. Or you can also just go up 3 to find the relative major. So for example, if we're starting in A minor and trying to find the relative major, we just go A, B, C. There it is. Now I'll give you a couple of other examples just so that that sinks in. If we're looking at B flat major, we've got a B flat and an E flat in the key signature. And to find the relative minor, we're going to go up 6 notes and see what we hit. We've got B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. There it is. So if we're looking at the relative minor for B flat, we've got G minor. And we'll do one more. This time we'll go in the other way. If I'm looking at a B minor scale, I've got an F sharp and a C sharp. If I want to try and track down what the relative major for that scale is, I'm just going to go to the 3rd note. So we've got B, C sharp, D, and that's our relative major. So D major is the relative major for B minor. The classic thing for composers to do with relative major and minor scales is shift between them in different sections of the song. So for example, use a relative minor in a verse and then swap to the major in the chorus, or vice versa. Another technique that composers use is blending both tonal centers in the one go. So for example, the accompaniment in a song might use chords that strongly imply an A minor tonal center and completely avoid the C major, which would be the relative major of A minor. But the melody moving over those chords would strongly resolve to C major and avoid A minor as the tonal center. And in that setting, they're using both tonal centers simultaneously, but of course it sounds fine because they have the same key. They share the same accidentals, the same notes, so it still sounds like it all fits. Here are a couple of examples. Let me know if you've got any questions.